like to call Planning and Development Committee to order, please. Have a roll.
Counselor Walker.
Here.
Counselor McBearty.
Here.
Counselor Cordino.
He's excused. I'd like to get the minutes approved for November 6, 2023. Councilor McBready and myself.
Counselor Walker.
Yes.
Counselor McBearty.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go right to communication. There's no old business. City Attorney Kevin Caracoli and City Assessor Kevin Hill request authorization for a public hearing regarding proposal law, local law number 4 of the 2023 year. The local law amending the chapter 224 taxation and code to the code of the City of Oswego, New York. Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Chairman. This is very simple. We're just matching the language of the county so that we have consistency with the two pieces of legislation. The income levels have not changed. The impact on water rate discounts has not changed. It's just a language change. That's it.
Any questions for Mr. Hill? Seeing none, could I get a motion? Mr. McBready and myself.
Counselor Walker.
Yes.
Counselor McBearty.
Yes.
Seeing no more new business, could I get a motion to adjourn, please? Counselor McBready and myself.
Counselor Walker.
Yes,
Counselor McBearty.
Yes.
thank you. Physical.
This time I'd like to open Physical Services Committee meeting on November 20th, 2023. Roll call, please.
Counselor Burge.
Here.
Counselor Vanucci.
Here.
Counselor Walker.
Here.
Counselor Gozick.
Here.
I'd like to approve the minutes for the November 6th, 2023 committee meeting. Counselor Gozick, Counselor Gozick. Counselor Walker.
Thank you.
Counselor Burge.
Yes.
Counselor Vanucci.
Yes.
Counselor Walker.
Yes.
Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
Any old business? See none at this time. I'd like to move on to communication. The Office of Economic Development has received for use of public space from the Ancient Order of Hibernians to host the 2023 St. Patrick Day Parade to be held Saturday, March 9th, 2023 at 1 p.m. This is an ongoing item that we've had many years, since I've been here anyways. I'd like to have a motion on that. Councilor Gozick?
Should that be 2024?
Yes, it should.
Yes.
I'll make the amendment on that 2024
I'll second that.
as amended.
Vote on the amendment?
Yeah, you gotta go as amended.
Just do it as amended.
Yeah.
I'd like to have a vote on the amended, change to March 9th, 2024.
Make a motion.
Counselor Gozick? Counselor Vanucci?
Counselor Burge.
Yes?
Counselor Vanucci.
Yes.
Counselor Walker.
Yes.
Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
Can we just go ahead with the motion? I'd like
Yep.
to have a vote on the motion now. As it's amended.
I'll make a motion.
Oh, we just,
You gotta motion it.
Yeah.
Second.
Counselor Gozick, Counselor Walker.
Counselor Burge.
Yes?
Counselor Vanucci.
Yes.
Counselor Walker.
Yes, as the
Counselor Go-
amendment.
Yes.
Counselor Gozick.
Yes. Sorry.
There.
Move on to 2, City Engineer Jeff Hinlater requests the Common Council to issue a permit approving low caver apparatus for the installation of a direct connection to the city sewer system.
Good evening, councilors. As the city code requires, when we have users outside of the city, they are allowed to utilize the city sewer system, but we have to permit it. And so, as you know, Rich Burritt and Locavor are building a new boat storage facility in Scriba, and they will be tying in, just like the other businesses along City Line Road. So the City Line runs literally down the yellow stripe of City Line Road. There's no other sewer service there, and so they have proposed, and I've been working with them on what their sewer tie-in would look like. And so the next step, since they've complied with us, is that we present approval from the council to permit that upon my recommendation. I'm making that recommendation. We have a resolution. It was not included in your packet. Mainly, we're waiting to hear back from Rich what the entity is that needs to be authorized, what its actual official doing business as name is, to make sure it's in the agreement. Once we have that, we'll email it around. If you were here for the Champlain Commons Sewer Use Agreement, the agreement is identical to it. Basically, that we will meter them, we will charge them the same rate that the city users get charged. They don't get any sort of break or any special deal. It's essentially, we are receiving their effluents and they'll pay for that accordingly, just like the other businesses in the city.
Thank you. I was just gonna ask, through the chair, sorry. I was gonna ask you, is it the same as Champlain? Because I remember doing that years ago, so.
Yeah, same thing.
Same thing.
Literally, we took that agreement and swapped some names and made sure it was accurate, but
Okay.
it's the same thing.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Like I have a motion. Counselor Gozick and Counselor Walker.
Counselor Burge,
Yes?
Counselor Vanucci,
Yes.
Counselor Walker,
Yes.
Counselor Gozick,
Yes.
Motion to adjourn? Counselor Gozick, Counselor Walker.
Counselor Burge,
Yes?
Counselor Vanucci,
Yes.
Counselor Walker,
Yes.
Counselor Gozick,
Yes.
This time I would like to call to order the Administrative Services Committee. Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Corradino,
He is excused.
Counselor McBearty, Counselor Vanucci,
Here.
Counselor Plunkett,
Here.
Counselor Burge,
Here.
I'd like a motion to accept the minutes from the previous meeting. Counselor Burridge, Counselor McBearty.
Counselor McBearty,
Yes.
Counselor Vanucci,
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett,
Yes.
Counselor Burge,
Yes?
Item 1 on the agenda. The Office of Economic Development requests authorization for the City Chamberlain to complete a budget amendment in the amount of $25,000 to the Special Events Budget Account. City Chamberlain Cole? Speak on that.
Good evening. Abby Jenkins with Economic Development Office. So we asked for the $25,000 transfer for the special events budget to close out the 2023 year of special events. The mayor has wanted to go all out at the end of this year, and we've been getting larger crowds in the past year, so larger crowds, larger events. And we'd like to end the year in good standing so we can go into 2024 with a fresh start.
Any questions?
No.
Like a motion? Counselor Vernucci, Counselor Burridge.
Counselor McBearty,
Yes.
Counselor Vanucci,
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett,
Yes.
Counselor Burge,
Yes?
Item 2 on the agenda. The City Engineering Office requests authorization from the mayor to sign a cost-sharing letter agreement with Erie Boulevard Hydro for the continued operation of the Varick and High Dam hydroelectric facilities. City Engineer Pendoyer?
So, back in January, we signed and executed a memorandum of agreement with Brookfield as imposed upon us by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or the FERC. And this was an agreement that was going to find a way for us to safely cohabitate the lower Oswego River to operate together. It established many things, including communication paths. But one of the things that was a part of that agreement that the council approved was cost-sharing measures. And the cost-sharing measures that were agreed to primarily are the fisherman alert system. That alert system was a significant investment for Brookfield, but it's also a system that when flow changes happen at High Dam, we utilize that system to be able to operate. And that mainly came about by the FERC imposing on us that we had to tie our public safety plans together. And so in discussing with Brookfield, this is what they proposed, reviewed it with them. It's a base fee of $120,000 is what it's anticipated to be. That is basically operation, and then as capital improvements come up, they'll discuss those things and we'll negotiate them and look what it needs to be. And given the future performance of the dam, this is essentially a cost of doing business now for us. there. And I believe that it will be money well spent. It's for public safety, and we can definitely show it that way. As a means of update for you, in case the questions are asked, High Dam is operating. Unit 1 can operate and has been routinely now for days. And we have teams coming in to commission units 2 and 4 in a couple weeks. So by the end of the year, we should have all 4 units will be operational and churning for the city.
Very good. Any questions? Like a motion to accept? Counselor Burge, Counselor Venucci.
Counselor McBurney,
Yes.
Counselor Venucci,
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett,
Yes.
Counselor Burge,
Yes.
Item 3 on the agenda, the City Engineering Office requests authorization for the mayor to sign change order number 1 with W.D. Malone for the Oswego Riverwalk West Wall Reconstruction Project in the amount of $156,363.88.
So we have the project that's ongoing down at the Riverwalk, down by the Varick Dam. This project was initially approved and is being funded 100% by FEMA. We have a small share of some local work we're doing, but it's a relatively small piece of this project. As the project has unfolded, like most projects, we come across things that are worse than we thought, different approaches that we have to take. These costs are reimbursable by FEMA. They are scope changes to the work. And so I do have an administrative change to what you have. The numbers provided, the package that the consultant gave, their numbers weren't adding up correctly. And so in your resolution, the amount of the change order is $156,363.88. This utilizes $25,000 of a field change payment that was in the contract to try to accommodate some of those things. This brings the total cost for the approved cost of the project to $2,146,653.88.
Any questions?
How long do we figure it's gonna take to finish this job?
This job will be done before the end of June next year. We demobilized as we were waiting for permitting. As some of you are probably aware, we had an incident on the Riverwalk where an area that was undermined significantly, a piece of equipment went into it. And so as a matter of safety, we shut the job down and pulled all the equipment and workers off until we could evaluate what the problem was. Now that we've evaluated it, the DEC has permitted us to address those areas because they are below water that we need to work. That has been addressed, and we are negotiating the price right now with the contractor to find out what the change order is going to cost. And so likely in January, you'll see me back with a change order to go over what that scope is going to cost so we can authorize that. But they are planning on starting work again around March 1st, and they'll be done before the end of June.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Like a motion to accept? Counselor McBurney, Counselor Burge.
Counselor McBurney,
Yes.
Counselor Venucci,
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett,
Yes.
Counselor Burge,
Yes.
Item number 4 on the agenda. City Engineer Jeff Hinderleiter requests authorization for the City Chamberlain to complete a transfer of funds from the Enterprise Funds Contingent Account to the Sanitary Sewer Services Account in the amount of $8,100 for costs associated with sewer lateral repairs. City Engineer Hinderleiter.
So back in March or April, the council, we presented to you a claim that was filed against the city that was for work done under the sewer separation on the east side back in the 90s. This is an outstanding invoice that took a while for it to perk up through the system and then realize it hadn't gotten paid. And so this is actually attached to that claim and will be a part of that claim. But we hired the contractor directly to come in and resolve this versus having the homeowner absorb this cost onto their claim. Because this, what we discovered through that process was a bad connection that the city's contractor had installed during that project was contributing to this problem and causing it, which is the basis of paying that claim.
Any questions for the engineer? Like a A motion to accept. Counselor Vanucci, Counselor McBeardy.
Counselor McBeardy.
Yes.
Counselor Vanucci.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burge.
Yes.
Item number 5, Tim Rice, DPW Commissioner, requests authorization for the City Chamberlain to complete multiple transfer funds totaling $84,300 for various purchases and training.
I think we missed
You
5.
skipped one.
Evening. So the water treatment plant, with help of engineering, is about to release an RFP for a fencing project, which somebody reached out in November.
Which one are we doing now? We on?
You just do this one, then just go back.
Any questions?
Well, I'd like to hear him, can you repeat that?
Yeah, so the water treatment plant is working on an RFP to go out for a fencing upgrade project. USDA had reached out early November about a funding option. So we're looking at getting probably 30% of that picked up next year, so we put that RFP on hold. So we're looking at transferring money right now for a towable pump and trailer, and move the remaining of the money into the chemicals and other purchases fund for emergency purchases for the rest of the year.
Any questions? Motion? Counselor McBeardy, Counselor Vanucci.
Counselor McBeardy.
Yes.
Counselor Vanucci.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burge.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll just flip-flop to item number 6 then. Tim Rice, Commissioner of Public Works and Parks and Recreation, requests authorization from the City Chamberlain to release funds from the Ice Rink Capital Reserve account in the amount of not exceeding $25,000 to cover unexpected repairs.
No one's there.
You want to take this one too?
Needs water. Or sewer.
That was a joke. City Chamberlain?
They do every year.
Right, this is usually routine, okay. Motion to accept?
In a motion first, right?
What?
Do we already do the motion?
Yeah.
Counselor Burge, Counselor Vernucci.
Counselor McBeardy.
Yes.
Counselor Vanucci.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burge.
Yes.
Now you go to 7.
Yeah. Not 7, I John.
Yes.
Mayor William J. Barlow requests authorization for the City Chamberlain to complete a transfer of funds from the general contingent account to the tourism contracted service account in the amount of $1,250 for sponsorship of an upcoming boxing event. City Chamberlain? Right.
I was just gonna tell you.
Sure.
Here he is. December 9th.
Go ahead.
Mayor?
What? 7,
Number 7.
Oswego Boxing Club is hosting a boxing event at the Oswego YMCA in a couple of weeks. They reached out to see if the city would support the boxing tournament in the form of a sponsorship. As a relatively new club, still trying to build and promote their boxers who are here from Oswego. I thought it was a worthwhile, would be a worthwhile sponsorship. So happy to support the club as it hosts its first tournament and brings, I guess will bring some people from all over the state because there will be fighters from all over the state.
Any other questions?
Sure. Yeah, I'd just like to elevate on that. We do sponsorship for fishing tournaments and different things like that to bring people in our community, and I think this would probably be a good thing to get a little different kind of people in here that like to fight. But I think it'd be nice to have something different for people to see, though.
Very good. Make a motion to accept? Counselor Vernucci, Counselor Burridge.
Counselor McBrearty.
Yes.
Counselor Vernucci.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burridge.
Yes.
Did you get my add-on for wired?
Yes.
Can
I
we
can
do
put that
that?
on paper.
Can we do mine now and then move on to Siemens?
Sure.
That'd be number 9.
Yeah. Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. requests discussion regarding the downtown speaker project quote the city received from Wired to install speakers throughout the downtown.
Wired's a local company here based out of Oswego. This stems from an idea we had back in 2019, I think it was, when we finished the Pocket Park downtown. I originally wanted speakers to have music play through the Pocket Park in downtown for one reason or another. It never happened. So then I had approached the company about that project, and we got thinking, when you travel, you know, I remember it in Arizona quite a bit. When you get out of your car at these shopping plazas or in downtowns, you can always hear some background music playing, and it just adds to the feeling of the downtown, you know, creates a different type of energy. And then we got thinking about the holiday tree lighting coming up this weekend, how it would be cool to have Christmas music playing through downtown for them, really add some character to downtown. So that idea grew from just the Pocket Park to all of downtown, or at least West First, West 2nd, from approximately City Hall down to where the Pocket Park is. So this company put this proposal together. I think the exact number is $53,000 or something. So that's in there. And then they did mention they would try their best, if we got tentative approval tonight, to get it installed for the tree lighting by the weekend. It's gonna be tight with the holiday and weather, but they would try to give it their best shot.
Any questions for the mayor? Motion to accept? Counselor Vernucci, Counselor Burridge.
Counselor McBrearty.
Yes.
Counselor Vernucci.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burridge.
Yes.
Did you want to do 10? Mayor, now, skip back and do back to 8 or?
For the police department ceremonies.
10 is $10,000 for the ceremony
Yeah.
in this manner, and then they'll do 8. Then I'll see.
Oh. Okay, item number 8 on the agenda. Mayor William J. Barlow seeks favorable consideration from the Common Council on a series of resolutions with Siemens Industry tailored to the operation of the High Dam facility and the street lighting project, as well as gravity renewables for the High Dam services.
Good evening. My name is Chris Catt with Siemens Smart Infrastructure. I wanted to take a moment just to introduce the folks on our team. Raj Selvaraj, John Parch. I believe everybody has a slide deck in their packets. If not, please let me know and we'll give you one. Over the last year, we've been working with the City of Oswego on a number of projects: street lighting, building and infrastructure improvements, and improvements at the High Dam. These projects are tailored to prepare the city for the future while taking care of immediate infrastructure concerns. The projects that you'll see highlighted within your agendas and packets for this evening would not have been possible without the leadership and guidance of certainly Mayor Barlow, Mayor-elect Corradino, Jeff Hinderlinder, Mike Riley, Kevin Caracoli, and of course, Deb Code. Without further ado, Raj, can you walk us through the technical aspects of this project?
Good evening, everyone. So in the package that you have, there's on the second page, it's what's called a matrix. So it lists a list of improvements that we are targeting at the different facilities within the city. The top portion, as you can see, is mostly to do with the High Dam, which is where most of our work is targeted, and the other work that we are doing in remaining city buildings. So if we go into the next slide, it talks to the developments that we are targeting, or improvements that we are targeting at the High Dam to further improve, as the city engineer Hinderlider indicated. The city has invested recently into the facility, to upgrade your controls, upgrading some critical components in the plant, and we are further enhancing it to get the production levels up. And what we did as the initial step was to do a full-blown inspection of all the generating units, your turbine and generators in the hydroelectric plant, the high dam. And pretty much all 4 units, we came up with like a list of improvements that could be targeted. And some of the pictures that you see, there's some windings that are touching each other, which when they touch each other, they cause overheating issues, which is evident from the bottom picture, which shows the overheating and the movement of the plates. There's some dirt buildup that happens over time. So what we are looking to do is to overhaul the generators on all 4 units. So the turbines will be dismantled, the generators will be taken off-site, the rotors and the stators will be rewound, re-insulated, and everything put back together in the plant and tested and commissioned back to full operation. The relay system needs to be improved, so we are upgrading the relays in the plant. And not only does it give you an upgrade, but it also helps you to sell the power outside of the current contract that you have with National Grid. So right now you're on a wholesale market, so this will help you to sell it on the retail market. And the battery system, there's an existing battery system there, and we'll be replacing the battery system because it's past its useful life with a new one, which will give you more backup capability in case of power outage at the plant. Roof ventilation, there's a current roof ventilation there. The dampers are just manually operated with a pull rope. We'll be automating it and controlling it based on temperature. Split ring bearings, the plant has, the bearings, they wear out over time. So when they wear out, right now they don't have spares, and the waiting time on them is longer because of the procurement and all the process. So we are providing the plant with 4 split ring bearings to provide a spare material, so if at all there's issues down the line, they have spare to take care of, and they're not down for a longer time. Building electrical distribution system. So right now, once we do all this work and all the plant and everything is coming together in full operation, we'll be doing inspection ongoing on the plant distribution system to make sure that everything syncs together properly and there's no overheating over issues with the different components, and all the production is back to normal. Security system, currently the plant has existing security system and existing intrusion detection. We'll be replacing the system with an upgraded system that integrates all these things together to provide better security, more cameras across both outside and inside the facility, better intrusion detection, and all the garage doors and the man doors, and also an access control on the man doors going into the facility, so it's a more secure facility moving forward. Power marketing, that's the other Gravity Renewables that was in the agenda, where all this upgrade work that we are doing will help the city to market this power to outside markets, which gives you better rates on the energy that's being sold because it's going to a retail market, and also you'll be able to sell the renewable energy credits that the plant generates. So it's a higher revenue market for the city as a whole. And on the next slide, we have a list of improvements that we are targeting for other city buildings. One of the main ones there is the city hall. As such, we are upgrading the HVAC system here. The heat pumps that are conditioning all the space here, portions of them have been replaced recently in the past few years, but they are standalone. They don't talk to the automation system, so they don't do much of scheduling or any means of control. It's like just onboard control. So we are going to be upgrading the controls on them so they can be more scheduled properly, night setbacks on them and everything. And the remaining units, more than 30, 35 units of them, are still the older McWay units, which are past their useful life. So we are putting newer units which are more efficient and also integrate with the existing energy management system for better control. And as part of this loop, there's also a boiler and a cooling tower and a larger air handling unit that serves this room in a mezzanine floor below us. And that space is pretty cramped if you've been in there. with the 3 pieces of equipment and the support equipment that goes along with it. And it's a maintenance hassle, if you will. There's no space to literally move things around, no clearance to move things around. So we are removing those equipment, putting in new boiler, new cooling tower, new air handler that handles the space. And as you know, newer technology is smaller in size and more efficient, so you'll get more space to do maintenance activities. The roof at the DPW garage is past its useful life. There's leaks that happen in the building. So we are going to cut the roof all the way down to the metal deck and put a new insulation, put in a new EPDM roofing on it, and extend the life of the roof and bring it up to today's standards on code. Lighting in the building is, the exterior has been done with LED already. The interior is still the fluorescent fixture, so we are going to upgrade that to LED. Building envelope, the picture you see there on the top left, it's one of the fire stations. The bright yellow spots indicates where the heat is leaking out of the building, so we'll be doing weather stripping and caulking and air sealing to keep the heat where it belongs and not leak in different locations. And then we are also doing an asset management system for the city buildings, which is essentially involves like a full-blown detailed audit of all the facilities that the city owns, the city buildings, and come up with like a list of assets, the HVAC equipment that you have, the windows, doors, lighting, everything will be added to the system, and it'll help the city with long-term planning on when to replace equipment, what kind of maintenance needs to be done, and and tagging that we will do on the equipment as well. So the next one is the timeline. Chris, do you want to take that on?
So this is the targeted timeline for the project. We've got contract legal review, then following up next week, board resolution and approval and contract execution. Financing and underwriting on the bond issue. I know Deb has been hard at work with fiscal advisors and targeting a construction start date on a number of these improvements, getting going with that in January. And another important thing to mention here is we're targeting improvements that are not only addressing today's concerns, but also preparing the city for the future, especially at High Dam. This list of improvements was, compiled through discussions with city employees, city department heads, city leadership, to really target those items that are of immediate concern, but also look towards the future and build upon what this council has already invested in with High Dam to make it the facility that it needs to be to really realize its full potential for the city of Oswego and your taxpayers. We certainly appreciate all of the support that we've gotten from council, from city leadership, from city department heads, and we look forward to working with you.
Any questions?
I have one.
Councilor Walker?
Wasn't city streetlights supposed to be involved in this?
Yes, absolutely. So city streetlights was work order 1, which I want to say June, July timeframe. I was here and presented on that. That work order is in progress right now. It's before the Public Service Commission. We're waiting for it to be discharged under from the Public Service Commission. That work was approved and is moving forward as scheduled.
Okay, now on the streetlights,
Yes, sir.
if you would just remind me how it went. Now, city employees do not have to maintain them. You got a company that comes and maintains them, correct?
Correct. So you've got 2 options. So number 1, they're much more reliable, right? And O&M is less, and you probably see it with LED lighting and your day job, and also at your house, right?
Yep.
The city would have 2 options. What we see most municipalities do is outsource to like a local, like a Volney multiplex or somebody like that to take care of any sort of incidental issues that lighting may have, but it's also warrantied. So the other option would certainly be if you wanted to utilize city employees to do that work, that would be up to you. But in every municipality that I've worked with, they typically outsource that function.
Right. Okay, thank you for the info.
No, absolutely.
I thought I missed it.
No,
I
you're good.
really did.
You're good.
Any other questions? Councilor Byrd?
Yes, sir.
What's the cost of this right now? What are we looking at? I I mean, this is quite a bit of money right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're looking at the high dam in particular, as well as the street lights, I'll refer. So, is there a bond issue resolution in front?
No.
So, when we're talking about both projects combined, the implementation cost is $12,890,000. The National Grid buyout, which is buying down the debt that's currently on High Dam, that's included, I believe, in this bond resolution. So that's debt that the city currently owes on High Dam to National Grid. So that should be included in there as well. And then there's a small amount of asbestos abatement, that's around $1,500, for a total finance amount of $14,692,461.
Isn't there a $5 million grant that we're eligible for, that we can apply for?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, and you got a question about the High Dam grant, right? So, the city is currently pursuing more than $5 million in grant funding through the U.S. Department of Energy, with our support. That money is not, has not been secured yet, so it's not included in any of our, discussions or numbers that we're sharing. We aggressively worked over the fall to chase that DOE money on behalf of the city of Oswego. Yeah, you have a really unique facility, right? So, not many municipalities have a facility of this caliber that's municipally owned. So thus, we wanted to pursue those grant opportunities on behalf of the city of Oswego.
Any other questions? Motion to accept?
Oh, excuse me, before we accept.
Oh.
No, I'm just thinking, I'm really thinking, are we bonding for this? I don't know what's no one's even telling us nothing. I mean, how could we just vote on this today and we don't even know the whole schematics of everything?
My biggest problem is I don't know the numbers.
I've got no numbers in front of me, nothing. It was thrown in my lap.
Yeah.
I got a packet with no numbers. Nothing. That would have been nice in there.
Thanks. So at the top slide, you'll see project financials for Hydro.
So there's three work orders. Work order one was the work order that you previously voted and a resolution on that included was some engineering efforts. Work order two was the street lights, all right? And this is work order three that you're looking at right now. So the street lights were done quite a while ago. They're in the Public Service Commission. That project's in the process.
It's going.
So that's a separate project. What you're looking at right now is work order three, which really was focused on High Dam, and what pressed this one was we wanted to try to get it done for the first of the year so that you could do the buyout by January 1 for the plant. So the financing includes the buyout for the plant, because there's some money that's still owed, and the deadline was the end of the year. So we really focused to try to get it all done by that timeline. That's really was our crunch to get through all the audits, put the package together, and then get it all done so that we could have it here before the first of the year so they could have the financing in place to be able to pay National Grid for the time.
And the remaining balance on the plant, that $1.8 million, is money that the city owes National Grid so they can take full custody of this plant.
Correct.
Without the lien or.
We've been in $25 million debt for them years ago.
Yeah,
We're finally
exactly.
getting out of it now.
Exactly.
So the grant right now, right, that's still pending?
But the grant is pending. It will go towards it if we get it.
So we have it figured out without the grant?
Right, you had to figure it out without, of course, I
Exactly.
understand. But now, are we, I mean, our assessor in here. Yeah, I'd like to ask a few questions. I mean, our debt ratio, I mean, this is what I want to know. Are we bonding for it? I mean,
Well, right now, they're looking at the best interest rate they can get, right? So I think that you're bonding it, is that?
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple emails going around, but I didn't see nothing set in stone.
Sure.
I'd like to,
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
before I vote on a little $1 million here and there,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So when we first got here, the first guys talked about the streetlights. I believe that what was going around was that you guys are gonna do the streetlights, evaluate some of the city buildings and so forth, and the savings you were gonna get for us was gonna pretty much pay for this, and then you guys guaranteed it.
Yeah.
That's, that's what I got. I'm like, if we couldn't make the payment,
Yeah,
you were gonna
budget-
save the
yeah,
money we're gonna
budget
save in
neutral.
electric bill.
Yeah.
You were gonna cover that.
But, yeah, exactly, budget neutral on the streetlights, and the streetlights funded some other important city infrastructure as well. So, you look at, all the LED lighting, capturing those savings, across your entire portfolio of buildings and city infrastructure. The only place that wasn't touched on the street lighting was some of the lighting in the high bays over at DPW, because the payback was not significant, right? So we included those in this project. Lighting in those high bays is gonna be important to the city, for your workforce to be able to obviously clearly see what they're doing.
Just to get some consistency, doing all the LED, get it all.
Yeah.
So, from a maintenance point of view, just to get it.
Exactly. And then, so, while that was in Public Service Commission, the next assignment, so to speak, was, okay, what condition is the high dam in, right? What needs to be done to make this the best long-term asset for the city? And what from your from Siemens's power generation and marketing knowledge can be garnered to put together the best plan to get this plant where it needs to be and make as much power as possible. So when we're looking at that strategy, you're not just looking at what is required from a mechanical perspective, right? You're also looking at where can this power go? Does it, how can the city get more for it than just selling it on the market, so to speak, right? And that's the synopsis of bringing these efforts together. So certainly no one can guarantee the flow of a river, right? But what we can do is make sure that equipment that's there is working the way it should, in operable condition, and delivered in a fashion that allows the city to generate the maximum amount of power.
Did you get Ms. Code? How many years?
25.
Jesus. I'll be dead then.
So I know that the council you have invested significantly into the dam to get it.
I know we have. Should be running by now.
Part of what this investment is doing, by investing in these items, part of this that you don't see on it is with Gravity Hydro, and it's it's a marketing company we're going to be working with that brokers our power. And one of the things that they broker with these small hydro is they're very attractive for other people's portfolios. Not so much because that the power we make is so wonderful, but they get a story that comes with it that it allows institutions to enter a 20-plus year contract with the city that they're going to buy our power at a rate above market. But what they want from us is that they want to know that this plant is going to last 20 years for that agreement. And so some of this work that we see isn't necessary for us to make money tomorrow. No. As far as the overhauling the units, all four will be running, and we will begin to make money. That money is at a certain efficiency based on the current state of these units. But in doing these repairs, hopefully getting the grant that we've applied for will allow us to get those customers that we're going to set up relationships with to be long-term relationships, so we get reliable contracts on that power, and we're not having to ride the market at every little wave. And this is part of working with Gravity. They do this successfully, and these are very conservative numbers on our side. These upgrades, part of it, some of these are necessary for us that National Grid, who is buying our power, like the relay and the battery upgrades, we have to do those in order to continue to sell our power. Right now, we've extended our agreement once, we're going to extend it a second time, but there's gonna come a point where they say, you won't be able to sell your power until you do those upgrades. So this approach allows us to finance those projects by capturing the future revenue of the dam. And so there are financial models that have been developed and are being proposed to show that the dam is going to generate about an extra $1 million a year in revenue with these upgrades. And so we're capturing those upgrades in order, and this financing that enables us to do these plus the HVAC system here at City Hall. And yes, it's a bond, and we are putting it out there, but that bond is also capturing a greatly increased revenue stream from the dam becoming reliable and marketable.
So what you're telling me, we're gonna bond for this, that hydro is gonna pay for everything that we did to this building, that building, and the hydro dam too?
Yes. That's my understanding based on the financial model.
And what if it doesn't? What if the hydro dam goes down?
So I believe the way these work orders are, just like the lighting work order that says, you know, we're going to assume this, and then that's the guarantee. That's a situation where, this being the type of contract it is, that's where we're at. So the numbers are conservative because our partners are trying to find what they're comfortable with in this as well. And so the ways that we've looked at this as an example, we've looked at our historic revenue that we generated and actually like closed the books on. And then that number, which I believe is, what it ends up being is about $500,000 by the time it all washes out. That's a reduced number based on our output and all the damage and everything that we've had. That's what they base the base income, that the city's gonna continue to always get that under this. And then what we've done is looked at, well, what will happen as these upgrades, what kind of efficiencies will we realize. Anytime there's a wet year, that's gonna be an increase. Anytime that they sell above a certain market rate, we've assumed $24.99 as the market rate. If it goes over that, that's all extra money in this program that was uncaptured. So that becomes liquid for us. So what this is, from reviewing these numbers, it's a very conservative approach. So the number looks high, and we've kept the grants out of it for that reason. We don't know if we'll get them. But if we do, it'll be a great reduction on this. And the years that we are able to produce over those benchmarks are great incentives for us. They will be bust years for us. We'll be able to capture that money and either put it on this or be able to utilize it otherwise.
Not trying to point fingers here or nothing, but I've been here for almost 4 years, a couple more months. This thing has been, every time I see you, it's the first thing out of my mouth.
Yes, sir.
What's going on with the hydro station? A lot of money there that we just haven't been able to put in our pocket because of, they haven't been up and running. How much we put into it now, like $2 million right now, sitting on it?
Yeah, about 2.25.
Why didn't we do the relays already? Why are we not waiting now and having somebody else saying, hey, we meant to put the relays in? Why haven't we already did this? We can get ahead of this game.
Sure. So the relays came up after our interconnection agreement expired, essentially. And that came up later. Now, National Grid has not told us, shut off because we're not buying your power.
Right.
They've identified these things, they've given us a year extension, they're gonna give us another year extension. And so from their perspective, we're still selling our power, we have an agreed rate, and we are capturing that value.
But we haven't sold any until just this month, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't sold, since I've been here, we haven't sold any power.
Sure. This last week, we ran 24/7 all week. So that was unit one, and one of the issues that came, and this is one of the challenges, is that the exciters that were installed, they found a problem in, like unit 3 has been sitting there, and it's actually under warranty. But the part has to go back in a crate and head back overseas to be fixed. And so we're actually going to, their tech is coming the week of December 11th and 12th. They're gonna pull one of the other units, either 2 or 4, move it into 3 so it can run. And we're looking at what are our best power outputs and getting those units moving. And even on this work, when they talk about the units going down to work on them, that's happening one at a time. Our goal is still revenue. market its power consistently to these other customers, these projects have to happen. If you vote it down, it means the facility will make money, but it's not going to be able to capture those revenue streams that some of this work, the bearings, some of these things, we're going to be back asking for bearings, we're going to be back asking for relays, but now those things all have to go through our public bid process and all this other stuff, where capturing it in this program allows us to market these things, to take care of them, but then also take the increased earnings and offset another looming problem, which is the city HVAC system, right here in City Hall.
So the 14 million is gonna take care of the streetlights, the hydro, all that, and the,
It'll take care of the hydro, it'll take care of, because the streetlights have already been secured under.
that's another 10 million.
That's a separate project, self-funded under the streetlights.
Right.
Streetlights
That's
budget
self-funded.
neutral.
They only sell one. This one we are getting bonding for, because there are unknowns to it, you know, and so when you look at the long-term marketing of the 25 years, fiscal advisors, if you want to know, they're projecting a 4.5% rate, which is a good rate on the bond, and it's looking good for us. It's really it's a key investment, it's a good investment. I would say that if you have more questions, we can do our best to provide whatever more information we have. We do look at the end of the year here, and time is important for us to kind of move some of these things along, but certainly, I would not ask you to step out of your comfort zone as you have questions.
What's the difference between the wholesale and the retail?
So,
So it's $24.99 per megawatt hour.
Yes, so right now we're on the wholesale market, which is based on the ISO. So they go on a real-time ISO market, and right now based on like January to June of this year, it was $24.99 per megawatt hour.
So to put that in context, so that's if you ran that at a rate, hydro rate of where you finished off in '21, which is when it was kind of, had some issues with bearings and it was limping along, right? So it wasn't producing as much because it needed this work.
Right.
It would run out to about that $500,000, what was it, 534? So that's the one scenario. By doing relay work, right, going after the retail market, having it called power marketing, it changes the whole model.
So the power portion of it can go anywhere from $38 to $42, and it can even go higher with peak times. So, and then once the production levels are up, once we do all this work, and the rates are up, you know, it equates to a lot more money. Like at the levels that you used to operate back from 2012 to 2019, this would be just, you know, if we assumed a conservative $35, this would be about $1.3 million.
Plus the tax.
So that's just being at the conservative, and then additional bricks, they sell for $10 to $20 each. So even if we say $10, that's additional $365. So overall, you'll be generating about $1.6 million.
That's assuming a $10 rec, which today is at what?
24.
20. That's assuming a power marketing cost of 35, and today's at what? 42. And that's assuming a flow of what? 36,000, right? Which the high that you had between 12 and before COVID-19 was 48.
48, 500, 48.
And what was the low? Like 30? 30. So we're trying to be conservative.
Be conservative, I see what you're saying.
We can't guarantee the water, we can't guarantee production, like on the streetlight side, we can say, we know these revenues because we're taking stuff, this is kind of like a dynamic situation. So you could make $1.5 million, or you could make $3 million. It's all relative to how well they operate the plant, right, and where that market goes. If electricity goes up by 60% next year, you're gonna have a better opportunity, because you're gonna be able to sell at a higher rate, because you're not selling at a wholesale rate anymore, because we do the relay work. That was why that relay work was targeted. You're selling at a retail rate, which is why you had that opportunity.
Now, National Grid gonna say we can go retail? I mean, do they have the say in that, or no?
They don't have a choice, so they have to buy our power, essentially, because we have that relationship.
Right.
But we're gonna execute an agreement with them, but the agreement we have has exit clauses to allow us to take our power and market it ourselves.
So they just transport it.
Okay,
Yep, so they're just getting it from A to B.
all right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Gravity Hydro is the marketing firm that we're talking to work with. They are both owners and operators of hydro dams, and so they have tested what they do, and this is what they do. They're very professional at it. The agreement we have with them is incentivized, and so the agreement is set such that if they want to achieve and above that $24.99 revenue, we don't pay them. They can't sell our power for more than that average, we don't pay them, which is a nice incentive for us. That if there's an underperformance or a dip, we don't have to pay the marketing company, but they'll continue to market our power for us. We've met with them, but what it also does is, as John indicated about operations, they're also including kind of like a phone a friend, that as time goes on, their goal is to have us operate because they directly benefit from us operating and selling our power. It's not a commission, they get a monthly payment for their services, and then if we produce over $1.5 million of just power, then they get a small incentive to do that. And so to help us with that, they have a phone a friend where every month that we have a contract with them gets us 2 hours of phone time with them. And let's say we go 12 months and we haven't made a call, that's 24 hours. They will send someone on site to train our operator or to come look at equipment, come look at things to make sure that we're operating it efficiently. So they're really trying to partner with us to make sure that is happening. And so that's part of this, is to bring them on board to help us become really good operators, but also they'll be the ones selling our power, so they'll be intimately involved in our facility to be able to market it too. Yes, all 4 units running, and then we reduce those by sort of like factors of safety. So we take up like 25% reduction on top of all of that. And the other thing that's getting captured here, we've never been able to sell before, are our renewable energy credits. And so far, we haven't been able to do those because of the way our facility is set up. Under these upgrades, those become another revenue stream. And there's a third revenue stream that we're pursuing right now to even add on to that. And as the electrification of our state moves forward, I'm sure there will be more opportunities for us to capture revenue in those areas. So because it is money and it's public money, we are being very conservative in these numbers to try to make it as realistic as possible, but not be too optimistic.
So one of the other curves, if you don't mind,
Absolutely.
is we were moving forward with it, and we had the grant opportunity to come up with a deadline. We weren't expecting it to hit the street, and it fit perfectly. So we assembled a team, and we attacked the grant. And there's no guarantees to it, but we did make, what do they call it, the short list, or?
Yeah, we've already been pre-qualified by the Department of Energy.
So we're hopeful that you'll get the grant. That will just be kind of like on top, right? But with a grant, you can't, you don't come back until the month is in.
No, we have 2 staff full-time down there, Karen Pasho and Tony Pisa. Karen is the operator, Tony is the mechanic. We pay them both full-time, and then on call if there's a unit trip or something after hours. But the way these units have changed, our power up in our upgrades, it used to be if you had to start a unit, you'd have to go there, you had to manually sync it to the grid, and it kind of looks like a video game. These little lights come on, and you start pulsing with the sine wave, and you're sitting there opening the gates and timing it, and engage it for the PLC to take over. The new system with our upgrade, you tell a unit 1's available, you hit the green button, and off it goes. And so the operations have gotten much easier. We're adding remote capability 24/7. It has a call-out system. It'll text you, call you, do all that kind of stuff for the operators. And our mechanic, he lives on East 12. He is less than 10 minutes away. So if we need him, he can be there fairly quickly. And I live about 5 minutes away on the other side and be there as well if needed.
That's good.
Any other questions?
Can I say one more thing if I could?
Yep, yeah, I'd like to ask a question, city engineer. So Jeff, I mean, this is probably one of the reasons why most municipalities aren't in the power business, I would assume. But reality is, in Europe, I would like your opinion, your expert opinion, being so close to this. I mean, the city's gonna be engaged in the power industry. These upgrades are essential for maximum efficiency, output, and revenue, right?
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. So, I mean, the reality is, in this day and age, these upgrades, I mean, if we don't do this, we're not gonna, it's not gonna, I mean, we're spinning the wheel as far as like the revenue stream's concerned, right? I mean,
We
it's really-
won't be able to capture the potential. We're on an upswing for electricity. We're on that upswing, and the goal is to get this facility to be able to ride that as best we can. These are things that will have to be done eventually, or we need to get rid of the facility. This is part of being an owner. The last time this level of upgrade was 93 when we bought the facility. I mean, we did a more significant upgrade then than we are now, but that's the last time that some of this work was ever touched. And so some of this is deferred maintenance and deferred things when you look at how these things work, but we're at a point now where if we want to be in this game, this is the time to do it and invest. This is an asset that is unique, and it is something that down the road here will help control expenditures for our citizens. It will underwrite these projects, and it's something that locally that our people can be proud of, that they're making clean energy, that they paid for it, and they are reaping the benefit of it. And it's something that will once again elevate this community to something that make people want to be a part of it. That we as a municipality own and produce green energy that is right here and comes right to us.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, on that note, I'd like a motion to accept. Counselor McBearty, Counselor Benucci.
Counselor McBrearty.
Yes.
Counselor Benucci.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burge.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on. Item number 10. Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. requests authorization for the city chamberlain to complete a transfer of funds from the general contingent account to the mayoral's contracted service account in the amount of $10,380 to pay for the fire and police department promotional ceremonies. See, we have Chief Gonzone and Deputy Chief Waters here. They'd like to speak.
Good evening. So we had a promotion and new hire ceremony, and because of COVID, it was like 3 years in the making. So traditionally, we would do these things in council chambers. Because we had so many people, we had it at a different facility, and I think we had about 200 people there. It was really nice, and this is just to pay for that.
Any questions? Motion to accept. Counselor Burge, Counselor McBearty.
Counselor McBrearty.
Yes.
Counselor Benucci.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burge.
Yes.
Move on to item number 11. Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. requests an executive session to discuss the financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation. Like a motion to adjourn to executive session? Counselor McBearty, Counselor Burge.
Counselor McBrearty.
Yes.
Counselor Benucci.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burge.